Welcome to Relics Radio, your favorite weekly podcast dedicated to the metal detecting and treasure hunting community. Here are your hosts, Ken from Adventures in Dirt and Tony from 5280 Adventures.
Yeah, and welcome to Relics Radio. I'm Ken, DK from Adventures in Dirt, as some of you guys know me from. Welcome to another episode here of Relics Radio, where we're going to talk metal detecting, relic hunting, metal detectors, treasure hunting. Boy, we're going to talk about water diving, all kinds of stuff when you join us here on Relics Radio every week, Wednesday nights. And you can always catch the audio versions going back 8 years over on Spreaker.com. Just search for Relics Radio Podcast and you'll find 8 years of these type of shows. I want to bring in my co-host. You guys know him. Mr. 5280 Adventures. Hey, it's time for the show, man.
Cheers.
Put down the drink. It's time for the show. Jeez.
So you had mentioned every Wednesday night. This week we're on Thursday night, but normally we're on Wednesday nights. So
right.
You can catch us on Wednesday nights.
That's it. Yep. Tonight's Thursday. See, it's getting too confusing, man.
I know, right? We're jumping back and forth. That's all right. Hey,
How's
but
it?
I want to do something completely different here. Ken doesn't even know we're doing this. So I'm putting Ken down in the green room. We're going to do something different. We're going to start the show over. Let's start it right now. Welcome to Relics Radio. My name's Tony from 5280 Adventures. Thanks for joining us tonight. We got an incredible guest. But first, let me bring on my co-host. Here we go. There's Ken Flicks.
Oh, my gosh. When am I going to be able to live that down? And tons of people are just joining us for the first time. They're like, okay,
I know.
Enough of these jokes.
It's an inside joke. But
I've got the hat, so it must be
I know,
a thing.
That's why I did it. You got the hat on there. So big shout out to Knicks Custom Laser Engravings. He's in the chat as Thin Blue Diggers. He made the hat for Ken there.
Only he would take an inside joke and send me a hat on it. You know what I'm
right? Exactly.
Thanks, Nick.
Shoot. So what have you been up to, man?
I've been doing, same old thing, right? Working a lot. Trying to detect where I can. We haven't gotten out too much. I did go out last Saturday and actually filmed for our metal detecting club, did some filming for them. They want to produce a film about digging proper holes, learning how to probe dig, learning how to slit dig, learning how to, cut proper plugs in city parks and people's homes and, anywhere else that you're going to be detecting and retrieving targets where it's very sensitive. Last thing we want as a community is to spoil it for everyone else. There's already jurisdictions, especially in Colorado, that are outlawing metal detecting because people are going there and digging holes and leaving them open or destroying the grass. And so
making
I went out
huge
Saturday,
plugs, leaving the plugs open. I mean, it's just that's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's ways to do it without having to do all that. And that's the film they want to produce. And so I was out filming that with them last Saturday and I finished about an hour early. So I got an hour to go out and dig some stuff. Didn't really find much, but coil on the ground, that was some good time.
Yeah. It looked like it was a pretty good day for you guys. I'm anxious to see how the video turns out. And, again, if we can educate, new people or even seasoned detectorists, how to be less destructive for the hobby, hopefully we can still continue to do what we love out in those public areas. So I appreciate the time that you put in, as well as Eureka Treasure Hunters Club, kind of essentially donating their time to put this all together. So appreciate it a ton.
Yeah. How about you? What have you been up to? What did you do this weekend? Yeah, I
was supposed to get out with you and do some filming of that video, but had the family over, got to see all the grandkids, and just a great time with the family. Just needed some family time. This weekend we've got Mother's Day coming up. So again, I think I'm going to be with family and everything. But after that, that's it. It's you and me every weekend, metal detecting, doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Dude, I didn't tell you this weekend. I've got permission on an 1850 military site. Totally untouched.
I'll be there.
That's how it goes, right? You're like, no, I got something. What? Squirrel?
Yeah. I just tell my wife, hey, I'm just going to go for half a day. Well, technically that's 12 hours, but she's already onto that one there.
Yes. Stefan in the chat says, hope you don't end up like us in Sweden. You're legally allowed to own a detector, but you can't turn it on without a permit from the state. Costs $100 per location.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Who knows if that's the way it gets, man. That's why it's so important for all of us to remember we represent all of us. I had them shoot something in the film, and I asked them, I go, do you guys think this is corny? Because the whole club showed up almost, but only a few select people were filming. So I wanted to get the whole club involved. So I lined them all up in a group, and I had them say, it's not about you, it's about us. As a group, you know what I mean? And figured we kind of finish with that, but it really is all kind of about it. We're all representing each other out there. So.
Yeah. Now, normally at this point in the show, we usually talk about everybody in the chat, and it looks like we're rocking today. I know we want to get over to our guest, but we got a couple more things we want to talk about. Speaking of Eureka Treasure Hunters Club, Ken, what's coming up here pretty soon for us out here in Colorado?
Yeah, real quick. You've seen these metal detecting events that go on across the country, across the world, really. You got Detectival over in England, and, all the different events going on over there. Well, we have our own right here in Colorado coming up May 30, 31st, and June 1st, 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's a seated hunt here in Colorado. We've been doing it at Eureka. Eureka's been around since 1973. This is their 25th National Open Hunt. So it's called Rush to the Rockies Rendezvous 2025. You come on out to beautiful Kiowa, Colorado, and join all of us out here and the people that come in from across the states to join us to do 3 days of metal detecting and good camaraderie. It's a lot of fun. We have kids hunt. We're going to have 3 hunts on Saturday, 2 hunts on Sunday, and a free kids hunt. And we actually have Mind Lab showing up with us this year, bringing their Masters of Metal competition to the hunt. And what that is, real quick, is you get together a team of 3 people. You come out, you register online over at Mind Lab. You come on out and you compete in 4 different events, and you will compete against the other teams. And at the end, there will be a tally of all these scores. And first place gets how much, Tony?
$2,500.
$50 per team to register, and $25 for first place. How about second place?
$1,500. How about that?
Third place.
How about $1,000?
There you go. So even third place, $1,000 for
absolutely.
And it's a lot of fun. Just going to put your metal detecting skills through the ringer.
Yeah.
Tony and I have a team together. Of course, we're going to win, right, Tony?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I already have the money spent, the prize money spent. So,
So hey, here's how you find us. Go ahead and go to EurekaTHC.org. EurekaTreasureHuntersClub.org, EurekaTHC.org, or just search Rush to the Rockies on any search engine, and you'll find your way over to register for our hunt. And you can find out more information by going to Mind Lab about the Masters of Metal competition they have going on. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, I think that's it for housekeeping.
Well, I mean, I would love to talk about Mind Lab metal detectors all night. I have no problem with that, but I think we're going to actually get to our guest. Let's bring in Merrill.
Where's that mute button? Somebody give me the mute button.
Hey.
Here we go.
All right, Relics Radio. Everybody welcome the U.S. ambassador to XP Metal Detectors, Merrill from Metal Detecting NYC.
Hey, guys, always good to be back. Oh, come on.
We're not worthy. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
How are you, Merrill? Good to see you again, man.
I'm good. It's good to be out and about and back on the show. You guys have been so kind. You've had me a bunch of times as a guest here. Always happy to do that. When you asked, although I totally listen, people, the Thursday thing is my fault. There's still like one part of me that is like teenage, and it's like calendars. Anything with calendars, oh my god. So these gentlemen were so gracious, and they moved the show back one day. So very thankful.
Oh yeah,
we would have moved it to Friday if you would have said you could do it on Friday. I mean,
yeah, we're glad you give up your time to come spend with us.
Absolutely.
Any of our guests, you know what I mean? Like they're taking time away from their family. from their regular life. I mean, we're all just a bunch of metal detectors, right? But we're doing this podcast and trying to get entertainment and information out to people within our community. But we all still take time away from our family to come do this stuff. So
I mean,
thank
they
you,
love me,
sir.
but they tell me they need a break from me sometimes. So, it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, have you been busy? And there's this talk of, this new piece of kit coming out, and boy, it just seems like things explode when stuff like that comes out.
I'm excited. I don't quite know how to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think that something like this, it's very similar to like if it was somebody else, it would be like releasing a detector. But I like what XP brings in that it keeps expanding what the platform. And like now, if you think about it, there are detectors out there that claim to have a gold mode. But what do you really need to find, nuggets, or forget nuggets, small pieces of gold, tiny pieces of gold? Every professional gold detector runs in the high frequencies.
Mhm.
And, now legitimately with the new HF coil, that's fast multi-frequency that's coming out, like this is a legit gold detector. It's not, a play gold detector. It is a legit gold detector. It is a very capable machine, and it's yet another expansion of the Deus too. So, when XP puts out a metal detector or platform, like in your wildest dreams, you can't picture like the entire scope of what's going on.
Yeah.
One thing
let's-
I'm like really proud of is we have the GPS Go Terrain, like that was added to the Deus One also, and Deus One has been out close to 15 years, so it keeps getting updated.
That's an amazing app. That is an amazing.
That app is awesome.
I use it all the time. That is so amazing. Hey, let me ask you this, Merrill. There may be people listening to us or watching us that maybe don't know about XP Metal Detectors, and they don't see what the excitement is about a new coil coming out. A lot of times coils are part of the package. They're not always sort of the main part of the package. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so XP does run a little differently than most machines. You want to explain why that is?
Yeah, it's now the detector that runs the widest frequencies that's out there, and I think that's important because multi-frequency, for sure, fast multi-frequency has a utility to that, and this is it's adding a new dimension, and what high frequency will get you is small targets. It'll give you some advantages in iron. It'll give, I call it the Higgs boson signal. How many times have we found pendants without the chains? At least if you're a beach detectorist, I love my beach detecting. And so many times I will find the pendant and I'm like, okay, the chain's got to be nearby. But it's just the eddy currents, that it's a really challenging signal. And what gets that? It's the higher frequencies.
Mhm.
So, this is something, and that was the first thing that I tested it on. I'm like, I had this chain that I found mudlarking, and it's going to be in a new video. And, like no detector could hit it. The HF coil hit it.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
You've been playing with this thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's been, listen, usually at this point of the year, May 8th today, I usually have about 40 videos out. It's been a year where I've definitely needed to, be with my family. There's been some stuff that has been going on, and, I thank everybody for the patience. But the one thing that has like really, going out in the yard, testing, going out a little bit to the beach, I've been doing that. Sometimes it's nice to just like not bring the camera. But
yeah,
for sure, there's going to be, a video that I'm working on it right now that documents the utility of this. And you just got to think of XP. You never know what you're going to get next. Like the Extreme Hunter, that's something that literally, I mean, if we were talking about like targets the size of a car, it'll go down 16 feet. Have fun digging that, okay? We do love digging though. It's there's something spiritual about it. And in terms of like being able to go underwater, you could go 66 feet underwater, and this coil also, it's 20 meters. You could dive with it, and it's all about utility. It's all about ergonomics. It fits in a backpack. It's like a super athlete. It gets the deep signals. It's a lead in iron. I'm really proud of it. It's biggest honor of my life, perhaps. That
wow.
Yeah. The big kilohertz is just amazing. I know that when I first started getting into metal detecting, before I got my first metal detector, I was a gold prospector. And here in Colorado, there's a lot of gold here, in the rivers.
Yeah.
And I wanted a gold bug too. Like even today, that is still one of the top machines for nugget shooting and finding gold in some of these dry bank areas and stuff. Is a gold bug too. And that goes up to, I think, like 70 kilohertz. You know what I mean? And that's what you need, these high kilohertz for these very, very small targets, especially like you said, gold nuggets and even some of the flower gold. But this coil going up to as high as 90 on multi-frequency and 120 on mono.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Like that's a gold hunter's dream, right?
Yes.
I was even looking at all the other detectors that are designed for gold, all the other gold seeking detectors, not the PI machines, but the VLF machines. And there's nothing that comes close that I've seen. There's nothing that comes close.
I'm very proud. I mean, when I went to France, that was very much a life-changing trip. You could see the pride. You could see like how much Alain and, the rest of the XP team wants to hit it out of the park. That's a passionate detectorist who I think of him like Tony Stark. He's the he's the game changer. He comes up with the technology that changes the game, and a lot of talent. Everybody I met was like an engineer, and incredible people. Who cared everybody detects in that company. It's a passion.
Yeah,
definitely kind of, like leading the group and the community in technology. Coming up with, the way it connects even, the brains are in the coil. Nobody else does that.
Right.
He always pushing that envelope and on the edge there and knocked it out of the park with this one as well.
I was always curious about the why to that, like why, and it makes a lot of sense, now that I've heard the answer to that. One, there's no way that anybody could match the ergonomics, because the wires weigh something. If you're talking about copper wire, running up and down the detector, that's going to weigh something, and you take that out of the equation, you make it a very fast radio link. And, that makes it that much lighter, but it's also an efficiency thing. And I'm not an engineer. I can't tell you the perfect answer as to why, but having everything so close, there is an advantage to that. And just, like you said, brains in the coil, fast radio link with like, zero latency, zero difference. It processes so fast.
It's amazing. I really thought when I first got the Deus 2, I was thinking, wow, I wonder if there's going to be any lag, like any lag.
Yeah.
And I have been so pleasantly surprised between switching headphones, between changing between the big remote and the WS6 Master to turning on my pinpointer, to turning off my pinpointer. Like there hasn't been a hiccup for me. You know what
Once
I mean?
you get it,
sometimes I'll turn the pinpointer off and go to put it in my pouch and it'll go off, but that's my fault. I didn't hit the button. You know what I mean? I didn't hold the button for that 0.0002 seconds to put it back in my pouch, but it has just been flawless.
I loved hearing the pinpointer in headphones. Like, I think that's a big advantage too. Yeah.
Agreed. Hey, we had some questions, and I'm if you guys are listening to us live here in the live chat, keep throwing your questions in the live chat. I'm starring them. We're going to try to get to as many of your questions, and we've got a whole dock of questions as well. So real quick, you had said you started using the coil. Stefan wants to know, how many hours have you been using this thing? Because you're one of the first ones to have gotten this coil.
Yeah, I'd say about 40 so far.
Not bad.
It's been a busy year
Yeah.
for sure, but I've done my part, maybe a little bit more than 40. I'd say 40 to 60. All sorts of email chains, going back and forth. Testing is very important to XP, and feedback is very important also. Yeah, so I did my part with that, and used it in different settings. We don't have really a gold bearing area in New York. That's the one I'm dying to go to and and test it out. But in terms of finding small stuff, the beach certainly erodes things. I used to be excited when I found like the backs of earrings and stuff. Like, it goes small.
Yeah.
But there's also, you can control it too. Like, you could set the max frequency.
I wanted to ask you that, if you can.
Yeah,
set the
that
max
was a big
frequency.
question.
Yep.
Yeah, because if you wanted to set it to a max frequency of 24 kilohertz,
Yep.
it would turn into an amazing sniper coil
Yes.
without hearing all the smallest mineralization.
Yep.
And depending on your dirt and your conditions, man, that's cool.
Yep.
You know,
Wow.
that's really cool. That was one of my main questions. I was just
Yeah,
like, okay,
absolutely.
okay, thanks, Merrill. Now I'm going to buy one because I love the small sniper coils. I love the small shape coils, and they're just great for
Yes.
sniping and around stuff. I use it all the time. Back when I used my T2, I used the small little puck, and everyone always asks, like, why would you use a small little sniper coil like that? Until you use one, you just don't know. Once you know, you know.
In New York.
Yeah.
I just got the M9 for the Manicore. Same idea. I was going between the 8 or the 9. I wanted to go the smaller coil for just that reason, to be able to pick through stuff.
Yeah. It gives you a different look, and just getting in between, like New York, that's so crucial, because we've everybody like barbecues in the park, and even if you throw out your bottle caps, this is just bad New York design, perhaps, but our garbage cans, they have like this, like, it's almost like a beach scoop, how they have like the holes in it, and the stuff, the bottle caps just fall through, so you drag it and you get like this trail of bottle caps.
Swath of caps.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this, like, some of our parks, it's still, it's saved our parks from getting hunted out too early. Like, you really have to work for it, but you could still get good old stuff in New York parks because of that. It's pain. I certainly don't want it, but iron is kind of like the villain and the superhero of metal detecting, because it extends our fun. It's a challenge, mitigating its effects, how it affects the eddy currents, and it also extends our fun because it masks.
Generally, you can go out in a field, and if you're not in an iron patch, almost any detectors is going to be able to find a quarter out in a soccer field, with no issues and things like that.
Mhm.
And you get a lot of questions, people that have been detecting for quite a long time, like, how did you find those incredible relics, those buttons and the gold coin or the silver coins or whatever? And you're like, well, you really got to get on these sites and pick through the stuff. And that just has to do with time with your machine, but also the technology that allows you to pick through that stuff as well.
Yes.
Yep. Tony will tell you, I got a new program I call the XRay Program.
Yeah.
On the Deus, and I got a video coming out about it. But it's I was on one of the most in my entire career of metal detecting, if you want to call it that, most iron infested site I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it was really going like, it was just ridiculous. And I put it on this program, and it was like, still hear the iron a little bit, but the volume was down on it. And when a good target, it just jumped out and bit you. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Because I tried general program and it was good, but because of the way the volumes are set up, it was kind of just too much. And it was kind of hard to pick those out in the middle of some of the other stuff. And it was bleeding over a lot of the iron, the heavy iron. So yeah, this new program, it was amazing. And everything I stopped to dig turned out to be something. You know what I mean? a buckle,
Awesome.
a hinge, or a, garter belt clip or something like that. You know what I mean?
It makes
Interesting
me
items.
appreciate the filters that are there, and there's a whole bunch of different iron filters, that are on the Deus too, for various settings, and it it definitely has a learning curve, and I think it
Yes.
scares people. But if you think about it, when you reach the point of maturity as a metal detectorist, you want something to grow into.
Yep.
This is the machine to grow into. I would say you have 90%, 85 to 90% of the capacity of it just by sticking to the programs. And I'm an Excel guy. A lot of this stuff has been like, if you go through the programs and compare it to the functions that are there, you'll have most of it. And sure, you could tweak it a little bit. But I would say 85 to 90% just by using the programs. But you become really dangerous when you get that last 10%.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I agree. Like the standard programs to me was all I was using. I was using general and, what else was I using? I was using, oh my God, the Goldfield program. Like, I don't use it that often, but that's unbelievable. The Goldfield program and the Relic program standard on the Deus 2, like, try and miss something, try and miss anything. Like, it's just going to grab it, So I was sparing targets at different depths, at different sizes, real small targets, trying to hit it and stuff. And the Goldfield program was just like blowing me away. Like, just, it wouldn't quit, You can't always hunt with that program, I mean, it's the programs for certain soil conditions and stuff. But yeah, the high conductor one is really good program for me. But I like the ability to, a lot of people just put it on multi-frequency and that's what they do, a multi-frequency program. I like the ability to isolate certain frequency. Like we were hunting, like Tony and I were talking about before we started. We were hunting an old school site and we hit it to death, and we just covered it. And we invited our friend Jeff Lubert, and we had just cleaned it out. We find our friend Jeff Lubert from American Digger Magazine out with us, and he came out with his Deus 2, and we're digging, and he all of a sudden he started finding things.
Yeah,
a lot of things, small things, and I was like,
tiny, small.
We've been all over that, man. Tony and I both have been all over that. And he goes, I got mine at 40 kilohertz, man. He goes, I'm going to find things you guys missed just because it's good. And I couldn't believe how he renewed that site. Obviously removed that site. Like, it was noticeable. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I had to put mine on 40 kilohertz. And then it was a different look.
Let me give some of the spoiler alert. It lit up my yard. Now, think about this. I was the guy that tested metal detectors before. Yeah. This is my yard. Okay, maybe my kids spilled something in the yard. I don't think so, though. And the stuff that I was finding was a little bit older. Nothing was a coin. No, that's not true. One coin. But there were some things that were just, it's like, okay, this was there? Like, how is that possible?
Right. How did I miss it?
Yeah. There's a lot of iron in my yard, old chicken coop. I'll say this too. Like when I would bury coins, I would sometimes lose the coin for a while. And this is like with all detectors, because there was so much iron there. And that really taught me about the masking effects of iron.
Yeah.
But I thought I thoroughly picked through, my front yard and my backyard. Nope. Still stuff coming out. The high frequency gives you a different look. I think in terms of expectations, and like XP wants people to know this too. This is something that's like Mariano Rivera. It's like your ace reliever, and you might not use it as a starter, but you use it as a finisher, and it gives you a different look. You'll find different things, that's for sure. And in certain settings, like for instance, the coins on the side, like this thing lights it up like you wouldn't believe. Like it is possible to get a coin on the side. We've all found coins that are on the side with like, questionable signals. Like this one will be clear as day. Iron sights, you bring this to iron sights, you'll be like, how did I miss this? And lots of surprises there.
I'll tell you, I did some tests. I had my 1853 $1 gold coin, smallest US coin ever minted, right? 12 millimeters, smaller than a US Trime, very small, thin coin. I had it at 9 inches, right? 9 inches on edge in my little plastic coin container, on edge, 9 inches down, and 40 kilohertz hit it. The Goldfield program hit it. And a lot of others were kind of struggling at that depth and at that size and at that thinness, that deep down. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so this machine being able to go up to 92 or 120 on mono, that's just ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna catch coins on side, no problem. No problem.
The thing that blew my mind was the chain, because that's like for me as a beach detectorist, you know, I hunt parks, I hunt land too, of course, but like that is they're out there, but that's the one thing. I'm not talking about big chains. I'm talking about thin chains. Those are the ones that are so elusive at the beach. And yeah, I'm not talking about like getting it super deep. It's not meant to be a deep coil. You know, we're talking 5-6 inches beyond a little bit, but you know, depending upon the conditions, salt helps it for sure. But it was nailing that tiny chain I had.
Wow, chains are so hard to find, unless they're right up top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see value in that in the wet of the beach. You know, in the dry of the beach where there's aluminum and this, it's not a perfect match. In the wet of the beach, I was like, oh, I have a new toy. It gives you that different look that, you know, nothing else gives you. Like, this is totally unique. It's a legit gold detector. Certain settings, like, you know, going to those iron sites, you know, finding coins on edge, you know, Goldfield, for instance, like a legit finding, you know, tiny flakes of gold. It opens up possibilities with that. It gives you a different look, and it gives you a lot of utility with that different look. Lots of uses.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, we got a question. You want to get to that one?
Yeah,
we were going to ask you. We got a bunch of questions coming in, so we're going to start throwing some at you.
David Frazier said, "Will you need an update to update the D2 in order to use this HF2 coil from XP?"
Yes, there's a update that's there right now.
Awesome.
Oh, the update's
that's
there
a great
now.
Question.
Yeah.
But would you advise people doing the update now before the coil is available, or would you kind of wait until in other words, is the update right now usable for other things rather than the new HF2 coil?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it was just for the coil. They did say that to me. I'm blanking on that one right there.
Okay.
I think if you're comfortable with what you got right now, I think, perhaps wait until you have it in your hands and then update. Yeah.
Great question.
Gotcha. Yep. How about, well, let's get to it. Let's get to this. Can it be used with the Deus 1, or is it only a Deus 2 platform coil?
The Deus 1 has a high frequency coil. So yeah, this one is just for the Deus 2.
Okay. So the ORX used to have, or maybe has a HF coil, right? Elliptical HF coil.
Yep.
Will this interchange with that at all? You switch them out, or does it upgrade that one, or no? Just nothing.
That one will work with the Deus 1 and the ORX. This one is just for the Deus 2, and this is it's not only high frequency, it's FMF, fast multi-frequency also.
Gotcha. Very cool. Okay, so, when can we have it? When can we have it?
Yeah.
When can we get one in our hands?
Oh, geez. I know
on the spot.
I mean, I've seen the production facility, and I've seen a lot of hardworking people, you know, at the factory in France.
That's not an answer. Give us a date.
Well, I know this doesn't help the people that are watching. I've got mine in my hands, and I know I love it. That
The rest
definitely
of you,
can
who
help.
cares? I got
So sad.
mine.
Oh, I
So
know.
bad.
No, I didn't mean it like
Too
that.
bad. Too sad.
What I was going to say, and this is something that I value about XP. They value relationships, like long-term relationships, with their vendors. And it's a slow process to produce these. I mean, they can start turning it over like pretty fast, but the rollout might be slow at first before it's fast. If I were to take a guess, and I'm just going to preface this, nobody at XP told me this. I'm just trying to, take an educated guess, knowing what I know. Summertime.
Okay.
I think it's going to start slow, and I think it's going to roll from there.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to look forward to. We're not too far away from that right now.
No.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Is there anything been released yet on price? US, Europe?
Yeah, 400. Hopefully tariffs, like that can affect the price, but as of right now, I saw it for sale, 400.
Pre-orders 400 right now?
I believe so. Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right.
I lied. It's 399.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
See, there you go,
gee.
Merrill. That sounds a lot better than 400.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot better. Yeah, Gary Tutona said that some dealers are taking pre-orders now. Don't know when though, but so if you can find them out there, any distributors or so that are taking pre-orders, and you want to get on it, you
Yeah.
can get on it. Yeah, I wonder how like tariffs would affect all that. I know that they put out a statement not too long ago about tariffs and prices of things.
Yeah.
How
How about the topic of water hunting with it?
I have not tested it.
Detecting smile.
Yeah. I have not tested
Would you
it
need a
in the
wire
water.
for it?
Like New York water is really cold right now, so I have not jumped in yet, to be totally honest. But
Yeah.
being that it is, submersible, it's I just saw it mentioned, it's 20 meters. So that would be, I think it's 20 times 3 in feet.
Yep.
So yeah, so
60
it'd be
feet
like
down.
60. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's dive capable. XP values versatility in their products. XP values ergonomics in their products. So super light, super portable, super utility.
Will it work like the current coils where you have to have that external wire to hook to it to be able to use it underwater, and it hooks up to your remote?
Yeah, I believe so. It's got a different charging system.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's different.
Yeah. No, listen, I want to say I don't know for that one, for the simple reason that it's you clip that on the regular coils, the antenna, it's called, and you clip it on the coil, you wrap it around, and then you clip it onto the remote. This one, it's a little bit different where it charges. So I'm going to say I don't know for now. So forgive me for that one.
Mm-hmm.
But being
this new
it's underwater, there's going to be a way. Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't advertise it. We wouldn't advertise it for being able to go underwater if it didn't have that capability.
Well, the whole reason is so it can't transmit radio waves through water up to the receiver, to your receivers, whether you're doing WS6 or you're doing the actual remote. So it's got to have some kind of wire transmitter to go once you're underwater from the coil up to your remotes, whatever you're using. How about the new charge function looks interesting. So you have this new sort of composite lower shaft, and it looks like it has a wire that comes up that has a chargeable battery that fits inside that shaft.
Fits inside the shaft, exactly.
And a wire hooks up to that. And then that shaft hooks inside of your stem or whatever you're using to do, like, that's interesting right there, Tony. Look
it's
at
got
that.
a really cool clip, LED light, and you hook it up, you know that it's charging. And it looks really cool. I know everybody's like, why doesn't he show us? They asked me not to yet. I mean, it's out, the orders are happening, but I think there's something big that's going to happen. So, yeah.
Very cool. I was, we were talking about before the show. I was thinking that, I was like, wow, you buy this second coil and it's not only a second coil for your machine that you can interchange the coil in and out, just replace the lower shaft, keep your coils hooked up to them, but it actually can be a second machine.
That's correct.
Because with your
remote and WS6,
that's
if
it.
you get that second coil, second stem, you'd need to figure out the headphone. Like there's an adapter that's, I think it was $10. It's like $10 or $20 that just, you could run a wire to it, or you could get
those WSA2 headphones. That'll work too.
WSA2 headphones to it, and you essentially have 2 Deuses.
Wow. Yeah, and then if you just wanted to swing the lower stick, that would be the lightest setup ever, man. That's pretty cool. You got somebody you want to go with? You're like, yeah, man, you want to try out metal detecting? Here, take this stem, just swing it around by the stem, put these headphones on, you're good to go.
It's a good challenge to do, and I was amazed to see the pinpointing on that, because it's just it's when the signal disappears when it's at the top of your coil. So you're swinging, and then it disappears. That's where the pinpoint is, right at the tip of your coil. As soon as it disappears, that's where you dig.
What's the size of that coil now?
The size, it is 9.5. I have it right here. I knew that would be asked, so I have it written down. It is 9.5 by 5 inches.
Okay, great size.
Good
I know
size,
a lot of
man.
people, regardless of what manufacturing machine you guys have. I mean, I know I've had a 5x9 or a 9x5 for Garrett. I have it for the Manicore. I mean, it's just a fantastic size. So I'm glad that they've got it in that sweet spot.
Yep.
That's great.
Do you know, let's get to FLX Detector said, will XP offer this coil with the whole package at a package price? In other words, like, will it come with an package, or do you only have to buy the coil?
I think that, these are meant to be like mix and match. Like you can add something like one at a time. Kind of like what you were saying, Ken, you can start with the package where you get the remote WS6, or you could buy there's a lot of different packages. You could buy it just with the remote, and the coil, and you could add different coils later on. And what Ken was just saying is, if you get it with the remote and WS6, you really have 2 metal detectors. So, you can add parts as you go along. In terms of package, I mean, there are packages that are out there. I'm not sure what the, I see it advertised for 400 separately. I haven't seen anything else. And I did look before, where it's like solo detector. One thing that's important about this, I think that, you think of it like a reliever. This is not going to be like your primary coil.
Sure.
This is one that's going to give you a different look. So a field that you have just hit super hard, maybe it's got iron down there, and maybe you think you got everything, but you know how it is with metal detecting. You never get everything. This gives you a different look to get smaller targets, targets that are on edge, targets that are buried in iron, gold flakes, chains, stuff where the eddies are just really challenging. In New York, we had this store. It was an electronic store called Crazy Eddie, and I always think of that with metal detecting, because like that's the basis of it, eddy currents. And if you're thinking about something like thin chains, you get a Crazy Eddy.
Nice.
That's right. It's crazy. Eddy.
I think that's a great relation. Having the reliever, another tool in your arsenal. You're going to have your primary that you go through, you hit it, you coin pop, you really go through stuff. And then, as you continue to go back and back and back to the same site, you kind of narrow things down and really just starting to pick out the last of it. This can really, just the versatility of it is insane. How many different frequencies you can put into it. So it's crazy.
And just XP in general, their whole platform, like Merrill was just kind of alluding to a second ago. like a lot of metal detectors I came up with, let's say you have the metal detector and then you might get a separate coil that you do put on that changes some things, but all the brain and everything is up in the top part of your detector, right? So you're putting on this other coil. It's this other sort of receiver and transmitter type information just down through a coil, through a wire. But with XP, all the brains are in the individual coils. So once you have the coil, that you have the detector, and then you have all the accessories on how you get that information to you. You have the WS6, you have different types of headphones, you got the WSA2, you got, the remote, the regular remote, and all this is, and the pinpointer. You have all these things that connect through radio waves and seamlessly. And it's just, how do you want to get that information that's out of that coil that's sending it out through radio waves? So it really does, instead of buying them as a package, you can buy them as parts and pieces and just interconnect them, intershare them. You can get your remote to connect to any coil, any pinpointer. You get your WS6 headphones that you can turn into the controller as a master unit to connect to any of these peripherals also. It's just really cool platform. Very, very different. We had another question. Jason Weir asked this question. The claim to fame with this coil is that there's more power to the coil. Is this true? And I don't know. I'll let you answer that, but I don't know if it would be more power to the coil, because there really is no power to the coil, right?
I think it's the battery life, and it not battery life as in the time, but the power that goes into that from the batteries. And I recalled, 3 times as much as like the first high frequency coil. Yeah. So this one does have more power.
Somebody had asked about the battery life on it. Detecting Smile said, how's that battery life with the battery inside the shaft?
Battery life, 10 hours, depending upon frequency and power. So 10 hours.
So if you're at higher frequencies, and depending on your program setup,
battery life.
Yeah.
I think it would be the multi-frequency that, would be longer.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's cool. Exciting times, man. Anytime a new piece of kit comes out, I don't care what it is, it's always exciting, right? I'm sure you've had a million questions on this, on this coil coming out.
I can't believe it, like I think the first one was very popular, but the number of questions that I've gotten on this coil, like people are like dying to have it in their hands, and it's a really exciting product that gives you a different look at everything. And I mean, the biggest evidence for me was my yard. You would think that everything would be dug out, but that's where, I mean, we're kind of going into like uncharted ground, because there are other simultaneous multi-frequency machines that are on the market. None of them in multi-frequency go up to 90. And, for mono, a very low frequency machine going up to 120 kilohertz. I mean, the range on this, nothing else is even close in terms of, the multi-frequency versatility or the frequency versatility. It's
Here's a
very
question
wide.
came in. Have you tried it? Usually EMI will bother higher frequencies. That's right. And what's your experience so far in around EMI? Have you used this coil in your 40 hours of usage around any EMI or black sand, even that highly
That's
mineralized?
a really good question. I think that's where the extra power comes in, because the extra power can negate some of that, the EMI interference. I really have not had too much issue, with that. But having a stronger battery, that can negate, some of the effect of the EMI.
Yeah.
Along that same lines, have you used it? Have you tried? Because I know you do a lot of testing with detectors and things like that. Multiple different types of manufacturers. Have you tried you try a Mind Lab or a Garrett next to it and see if you get any interference with it?
That's
that
a good
way?
question. Yeah.
So I mean, I have the answers to that in the videos. Like
Okay.
one thing that XP like asked me to do, and I'm sorry, guys, I love to.
No, you're fine,
feel,
man.
yeah. I just don't want to.
I don't want to give it up.
Yeah. Well,
Nope, no problem.
Yeah. You heard about, well,
We
let's
understand.
not even go there. Yeah.
Yeah, let it go there. Oh,
We
we almost tripped
understand.
him up. We almost tripped him up.
I know, I
Darn
tried.
it.
Yeah.
We're trying to trip him up.
I always like to be, honest and forthcoming. There's just, some things,
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
all fine. All fine.
We asked you before the show, what can't we ask you about? And you said,
I said, go
nothing.
with
Ask
it.
me anything you
You
want.
said everything. Yeah, just keep going.
I don't.
did, and I
You
said I
did
was
say
just
you might
like-
not be able to answer everything, but
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
ask
I
everything.
just always try, like if I don't know the answer to something, I've always been taught, since I was a kid, you say, I don't know, and
Yep.
if you do know it, you share it. It's
All good.
I'm still growing into, this for sure. I
Understood.
never want to sound political, it's a product that I believe in. That's for sure. I couldn't do this if I didn't. And, I'm
tell you-
proud of where it's going for sure.
You have an incredible reputation in the community, and if you endorse it, I mean, I honestly trust your opinion for sure.
Yeah.
You can't take a step down after you've bought 23 detectors. You are just not willing. I get it. There's different detectors that resonate with different people.
Sure.
This is what resonates with me. This is this is what I want to rock with.
So
And
with these
I
higher
like that it's
frequencies,
ever evolving. Like I'm very proud of that. It's progressive, and it's ever evolving.
Dwayne Crown asked with the VDI, is it going to be the same with higher frequency? In other words, is the VDI spread going
Right.
to be
Good
the
question.
same with these higher frequencies?
I've noticed a difference, but
Ooh.
there's another. That's a good question.
Yeah.
And that's me being forthcoming right there. But there's another update that is coming out, because like I was in the beta testing, of it. And, when you beta test, there are certain things that you're working on. For me, and I was actually just watching Calabash's video where he's praising the consistency of the VDI on it. For me, VDI is like a little bit less important. The sound is everything now. I used to be the guy. I was looking at one of my old videos and like laughing. I was like digging with a hand trowel, like really early on with Metal Detecting NYC. I had no headphones. Part of the reason that I've grown is people like yelling at me, like, what the heck are you doing? And, I've gotten some good coaching because I read it, I think about it, and, I've learned. But it's you guys have definitely helped me grow with that. My guess would be with the second update that, it's going to be
Kind of corrects it,
consistent.
fixes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why XP takes their time with like releasing things, no hiccups, and when it's ready, it's ready.
Do you know if there was anything in Stefan kind of alluded to this in our chat? Do you know if there was anything in regards to regulations and such? Because wasn't there some regulations that said metal detectors could only emit so many external frequencies or magnetic kilohertz or whatever?
I thought you had talked about that
earlier.
didn't you talk about that with the Manicore?
Yeah, that was one of the things in the video, and I got I got a lot of flack for that.
That's right.
I remember that video, and there was like a brochure that was put into it, and I saw that the Go Find had the same power listed, and that's what raised the questions. And we dove deep into that. But if you think about it, I mean, we've had gold detectors, like you mentioned, the gold bug. And they run at high frequencies. This is something that it's made of the same juice as that. Of course, the XP super juice version of it, but like it, high frequencies are the norm with gold detectors. Yeah. So I think that there's a consistency with that, and it's got to, those have been allowed. So
And I think that
No
last
issues.
time we were talking about that, it actually is such a small
Yeah.
percentage of the
Yeah.
limit of the regulation that it's barely even a dot on the blip of that regulation. So what about the sounds? Are they changing the sounds, Merrill, with these, this higher multi-frequency? Are they doing a new sound, selection? Somebody actually said like more of a higher fidelity sound. I think Stefan asked that question.
Yeah, when somebody was asking about the update, that was one of the things. And I just said, when I say I don't know, I don't know. I know that it's always evolving. And I've heard a bit about that. What I've been focusing on is using it in different settings. And that could be the next thing that they come to me and like, Merrill, what do you think about this and that? I know that, the evolution of the sound. I mean, really, that's at the root of the Deus. I mean, the fact that you could take off the remote and go without any target ID and just sound and be a competent detectorist. I mean, that speaks to the quality of the sound. I'm trying to imagine how much better that it could get, how much more information that you could get. And I guess when you get, you use something over a long period of time, you get used to it. And if you change it, I mean, you could always offer like another, possibility to it. But, square, high square, PWM, I mean, you got some great options there. But
what's your favorite, Merrill?
For a long time it was square, but I've gone back to PWM because if you there are certain settings that I'm still going to use square. Like whenever there's a drought at a local lake, I can't believe this. It's like everything just like sinks to this same level. It's so easy to cherry pick with square tones. It is so easy because you hear the size of like a coin and you hear the size of something that's bigger. Like I could tell you right away if it's a fishing weight, if it's something bigger, more massive, more surface area, more volume. But for them, I've gotten so used to PWM to for my hunts now, I'm using square less and less.
Cool.
Interesting. Now we did have a question in the chat here. You have gone over like so much information. It's information overload. I have to go back and watch all this again because you told so much. But I think one of the most important questions that we haven't touched on yet, that's been asked a couple different times in the chat here. What's your prediction on the Knicks Celtics series? Are the Knicks going to beat them?
Listen, I've been long suffering when it comes to like my sports teams, and my two teams that I care very much about are the Mets and the Knicks. And they have tortured me over my lifetime to the point that I'm superstitious, like wearing socks and stuff like that. That
Oh my
like
gosh!
takes me back to when I played baseball. I
That's
was
right.
scared.
Oh
I was
yeah.
watching the phone. I was watching the game on my phone to the point that I was like, okay, if I turn on the television, I'm going to alter the universe and the Knicks are going to lose. That's how bad it has gotten for my two teams that I love. It sure looks good right now, but I'm used to Lucy pulling the football away from us and Charlie Brown falling on his
Landing
head.
on his back. Yep, exactly.
I want to say Knicks, and wow, like I didn't expect them, after they had a good regular season, but I didn't expect them to go up 2-0 against the Celtics when they weren't at home. So, that's
It's a good series going on there.
been a good series. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we got you lightened up, we're going to hit you with the hard one. Jason Weir wants to know, be honest, are you currently testing the D3 or some new concept detector? Come on, Merrill, give us a scoop. You can tell us right now.
I could tell you, like, I mean, we could all like infer. Yeah, there'll be a D3 someday, but like there's still an evolution. I think there's still more like in the plans with the D2. And that's what you have to understand about XP. I'm just blown away. I know I've said this in several live streams, but it's worth saying again. The fact that they just added a GPS to a 15-year-old metal detector. How cool is that? Like, you never know what
Incredible.
you're going to get. Like, it's still paying dividends long after the fact. That's XP. I listen to them, and I've gotten to really know these guys, and they're great. And it's just like, we put out new detectors when we could significantly go above what we're currently offering. And when I went to France, and I've only gone to, well, no, I mean, for XP, I went once back in college. I went a whole nother time. That was before metal detecting counted. And, we were, girls and all that fun stuff. You know,
I saw
but,
his memory go right back there. I don't know if you saw that, but he
Took
he
him right
disappeared
back
for
there.
a quick second.
I sure did. I had to go way back now. So it's getting longer and longer. But, I went to XP headquarters once, and that will be a trip that stuck with me. I hope to go again. Maybe this year we go again. But the number of engineers that I met, Alain, Philippe, the whole crew over there, Sylvan, these guys are serious, like, about detecting. And, think about, how the D1 kind of changed the game. Like,
Yeah.
it made detectors lighter across the game. Like, it really did. D2, it continues to evolve, and there's more surprises. And, will there be a D3? Of course, someday. But, we're kind of unpredictable, and we still, like, if you buy something, we care about it. Like, we're not going to leave people hanging. It's going to continue to evolve. And I think there's more growth with, multi-frequency, and as evidenced by the high frequency coil, because now Deus 2, nothing is touching that in terms of, like, the bands that are offered.
Yeah, this
True.
may renew. I need to get one of these coils that may renew my interest in getting back out in the rivers and looking for that gold here in Colorado.
Yeah, we have
A lot
opportunities
of
here.
people have told me to
Yeah.
jump in a river. So
There you go.
That's a totally different idea, though. Not with metal detecting.
There you go. There you go.
I bring it everywhere. So
So what do you think about this? So this is a 9x5, basically, elliptical coil, high frequency, the HF coil. Do you think that will they ever come out with a 9 or 11-inch or 13-inch HF coil?
if it adds something, yes. If it adds something. And I
don't
think
know that it would, to be honest with you, but
yeah, I
Right.
think it was telling because, and I don't own this, but I've heard that there was a high frequency coil that was a different size for the Deus 1. And I think that it was, a choice, unless if I don't know something, because, I don't get told everything, that's for sure. Like, I think that it's, telling that, 2 or 3 coils were not put out at the same time. I think this was the one that people went crazy for with the Deus 1. And since I became ambassador with XP, this is the number one question. When is the FMF, high frequency coil coming out? This is the one that a lot of people are excited about because they've had success with the one for the Deus 1.
Yeah, that was a lot of the same ideas, the same things in the chat were saying. I can't remember who it was, but they said specifically, I've been waiting for this coil since the D2 came out. So
I've heard that a lot.
yes,
that a lot
absolutely.
in private conversations and stuff too, because I didn't use the D1, so I wasn't around for that. You know what I mean? But talk about people that use the D1 and now gone over the D2.
The evolution of it.
That's the Eureka Treasure Hunters Club.
There
are a lot of members in that club that have been detecting for 30 plus years, and they were eventually using the D1 and then came over to the D2. And I know a lot of them are excited for this coil too.
The most
What?
controversial thing that I've ever heard from XP that got like pushback is the Deus 1 in its entirety can fit within one program on the Deus 2.
Wow.
I got so much pushback when I said that in a video, like, you don't know what you're
You don't know
talking
what
about.
you're talking about. I bet.
And then I go to, events, and that's the one thing that people have brought up to me, like, you don't know what you're talking about. But, Deus Mono, it is meant, that's how XP thinks. It is just so different. It's like, okay, let's take what we have. Let's put this in one program. You just asked about the Deus 3. I don't know. I'm speculating.
Yeah.
Nobody's told me anything. Okay. But maybe they do the same thing with the D2. They put everything that's offered into one program.
Wow. Talk about mind blown.
Progressive.
Absolute mind blown.
It's hard to even speculate what the D3 would do if that's what their jumps are like. You know what I mean?
That's massive.
The D2, it's so much to it. Let me see. We had some other questions come in here. Here's one. We can jump off the coil for just a second. Let's talk about the Go terrain for a minute. So, I love the Go terrain. Are there any updates coming to that? Are they thinking of expanding that at all? And while you're thinking about that answer, Diggin' Buddy says, "What's up, buddy? Good to see you. What are the chance for a non-XP adapter for the Go terrain support? Like, could you plug something into the MindLab machine that would share VDI and Go terrain with the Go terrain app? You know what I mean?
That would be great.
So that'd be a good expansion.
Yeah.
So let me just say this. I'm really appreciative of how XP has treated me this year. You all might have noticed that I was a little bit absent from my channel this year. My family, my dad specifically, needed me this year, and you got to step up for family. Some of the conversations, some of these questions are really easy questions. I think I've answered a bunch of them, but there's some that I don't know the answer to. In terms of and I'm just going to say I don't know. I always like to be honest. I'll figure it out, and I'll tell you as soon as I know. Perhaps an update on my channel, or XP will update, and maybe I'll be a part of the video that updates people on that on the XP channel. As for updates for Go terrain, I know that they just updated the Deus 1 not too long ago. So that's something that is ever evolving. I don't know the answer to that. In terms of crossovers with other detectors, if I was to take a guess, I don't think so. It's something that, it's something that's really cool, that all you need to do is tell it how many times that you swing over and pair it with your coil. You have a map of where the target ID is. You get hotspots. If you want, you could take a picture. You could plug in the photo. You could go right back to that hotspot next time. And you know how metal detecting works. Maybe there's a worm that's trying to get his workout in and just pushes this coin into an area where you could see stuff. And you go back to that area that is marked in Go terrain. You try it a few weeks later, and Eureka, you have this epic gold coin, like Tony pulls. And, I'm saying this with love, Tony, seen that on Facebook because it's such an epic pull, that $5 gold piece. Every time I see it, I'm like, someday, Merrill, someday, because I've never found the gold coin.
It'll happen.
It could turn into that. And I like the essence of using data. The whole point of being data driven, and you know where you've stepped, you know where you've gone, you know what was there, and map it out.
There's something to say about that. I think people can give you grief about it and saying you're over analyzing it, but no, you can even take it down to shoot Moneyball with the Oakland A's, analyzing statistics down to whatever low point. My gosh, why can't we do that in metal detecting as well? Why can't we analyze and say, wow, this really was a hot spot right here. I need to go with a smaller coil, a higher frequency to pull out those smaller items and really concentrate on that spot. I got to tell you, that's if we have the technology, why don't we use it like that?
Well, the Oakland A's and Metal Detectors have the same sweet spot for success. It all depends on walks. The Oakland A's walked a lot, got
How
on
many
base.
you need to get on base the most? You can't score runs if you don't get on base.
That's right. And in order for us to metal detect, we need to, we walk.
That's right.
Way, so
you got to walk.
Down to walks.
If you're running, the bull's
that was
loose, and just be careful, or the moose.
Well, if the moose are around, you better be running. I tell you that much.
But Tony and I just got on a new permission where it's miles long. You know what I mean? Like the lady was saying, the perimeter of my property is down there. If you want to take the side by side, go ahead and take it. And you see that building off in the distance? That's for the perimeter of my property. And
that's a dream come true.
Yeah, so we're like, we're exploring, kind of hot picking. The first time we were there, we're kind of cherry picking. But yeah, using that program, you see where you've already hunted and what you found there. So next time, maybe you go search a different area until you find the hot spot, and then you're like, okay, now see if we can find another hot spot. Okay, this is making sense that these two hot spots were in this area. And, you go away for a week, you hit 4 or 5 other permissions. You come back to it.
You get a good rain.
Yeah, you're darn it. Did you remember where that hot spot was here? And, oh, yeah. It was right over here. This is where you found that, clothespin that time. That's decent. But that program is great, man, just because you can see exactly where you were and where you concentrated on and stuff. It's awesome. So
yep.
I'm jealous because I don't have that.
But you got a gold coin, man. Come on.
You should never.
This guy, he's got one too.
That's
he
right.
pulled one. At least he pulled one over a spot I've been over umpteen number of times. So I tell you what. To pull out that $1 gold coin, mine was, a blind man could have found mine. His was, I tell you, was took some work. He put in the work and he was rewarded.
Yeah, we both were extremely lucky, man. But if you just look in the spots where it possibly could be, well, actually, mine wasn't like that.
No.
There
no
was
idea.
No chance. No reason that mine was there where it was. But if you just keep looking for it, you'll eventually find one. Just put yourself in the spots where it possibly could happen.
Yep.
Knowing where they came from, knowing how they got dropped and stuff like that. Get that treasure. Said, when are we going to see it tested on some gold chains? We all want to see that. There you go. Video ideas. There you go.
There you go. Yep. Tune in to Metal Detecting NY. Is that where you're going to have it on your YouTube?
This one's going to be on the XP channel. Yeah,
it will. Okay.
Yep. You're going to see it plenty on Metal Detecting NYC for sure. But the video I'm working on right now is XP channel. Yeah.
Alrighty.
In the video, are you going to be wearing a gigantic chain with bling hang on it and your grills on?
My rapper
walking
gear,
down the beach and say anybody could find this kind of chain, but how could you find this kind of chain? You can barely see it,
Ooh, that's the cool thing about New York. You really do get like that, like blinged out, but like real gold. Like I got a legit collection. I've got grills, and I've got these chains. Like I could really like rock Halloween. I really can.
Oh man.
Check this one out. Treasure Earth. In your testing of this coil, what factory program did you use when you're doing your 40 hours of testing? All kinds?
Yeah,
or
can
just
you
a
tell
couple
us that?
Did you concentrate on?
Yeah. General is what we started with. Goldfield, Beach High Frequency I used. And I'm going to be coming out with some new programs, and I'm really picking their brains on this as well too. They've been that's one thing I really appreciate. I've learned so much, from the people at XP, and they're so available. But I want these programs to be on point, and they will be. Yeah. So
nice.
Like stuff that you could plug in right away for the different settings for the different areas, terrains. That's the word I'm looking for. That will really make this product shine. That will really make this coil shine. I'm gonna try to make a video that has like a program for each one, so it's a really ambitious video, but it's going to be very worthwhile.
Hmm. This is a great comment. It came in from our friend Buddy. Digging Buddy says, just to call it out, you're a great teacher, Merrill.
There you go.
You've got more students than you know. I appreciate you, brother.
Digging
Amen.
Buddy, I appreciate your support for so many years. You know, you've been commenting on my videos. Hope to meet you someday. So thank you so much for that.
Buddy's a great guy, man. We've dug a couple of times over in England with him, and he's definitely a great guy. So great comment, Buddy. How about this one? We got Green Mountain 64 said, just really can't see Merrill rap. I've told you this before. This was on the last show we did with you. It is still the truth. I cannot listen to Billie Eilish anymore. Whenever that bass line comes on, it just, I go, I'm a Clad guy.
You think you're Clad guy, of course.
If you ask
Clad guy,
I say it every single time, and they just look at me like, what are you talking about? I go, I got to show you the video. Again, so it made a lasting impression. It made a lasting impression on me.
Thanks, buddy.
That was awesome.
That's awesome.
Here we go. Here's a good one. Dwayne Crown says, we need an HF coil for the Extreme Hunter so we can find 3-foot deep dimes.
Wow. That's like the polar opposite mix right there. So the huge coil that goes, from huge targets, 16 feet deep, and high frequency to get that. Wow. That would like blow up the universe.
That's a lot of power.
The magnetrometer or something. That's just pretty crazy. Shoot. We've been if you got other questions, throw them in here and stuff. Let me see. Yeah, you sound like you need a lab coat like Calabash. Don't tread on me, metal detecting said.
There you go.
It has a charging system on the HF2 coil. We talked about it. Battery inside the shaft.
There's a really cool clip. Listen, people, I'm dying to show you. They've asked me not to show it yet. I think they've got something big planned. So, it's not my place to go rogue and show everybody. But, it's going to be cool. It's going to be very worthwhile. XP only puts stuff out when there's a significant jump. And I like that about them. It's don't waste people's time with talking it up and then it underperforms. No. You have to understand what you're getting with this. Again, think about this. This is a relief pitcher. Okay. It is a quality Mariano Rivera relief pitcher. It's going to give you a different look. The thing that blew my socks off right away was the chain. The fact that it got this thin chain that I only found mudlarking. It was the first thing that I ever tested, and I've tested a lot, that got that. And I was very impressed from there. Again, gold detectors. We have gold modes on lots of different detectors, but ours is, I'm not trying to be rude with this. I'm really not. This is legit because what do you really need to find small gold flakes? You need high frequencies. Yeah. It's a high frequency coil, goes multi up to 90 and up to 120 if you're going mono. So it's now the widest range. This detector continues to evolve because XP cares, because XP wants it to be elite. It wants to knock it out of the park every time. It cares to do that. And you could expect more surprises in the future. That's what, that's why they work so hard. That's why I'm glad to be a member of that team.
With multi-frequency going up to 90, 90 kilohertz is still higher than almost any other. I think higher than any other gold finding machine. Gold bug
in multi
gold cruiser, you name it. I think even higher than in Garrett's new one. All these gold machines, don't get me wrong, they're all the Axiom, they're all good gold machines. You find plenty of gold with these machines, but still, this new coil is going up even higher frequency, which means you're going to find even the smaller pieces of gold out there. And then when you can set it on mono and go up to 120, I can't even imagine what that's going to be like. Like, I can't even imagine what that's going to be like.
Well,
I mean,
I can imagine it.
Warp speed.
Yeah, I can imagine it. And you alluded to it, and you even said it earlier, Ken, was trying that out here in Colorado, because we've got some good rivers for gold, but it's all flower gold. It's all small
gold.
We don't get nuggets out here in Colorado. We've got gold. And to throw 120 kilohertz out there in the river, I can't wait to head out there and just watch you, Ken.
Or on the dry washes when when the flood's coming in and create those dry washes.
It's gonna be a great opportunity for us out here in Colorado.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting for sure. It'd be awesome to go out, get some videos of that. You know what I mean?
I know, right?
Find some of that stuff. It'd be pretty awesome. What else we got?
Yeah, let's get through a couple more questions here in the chat.
Okay, go for it.
I think this one's good. This is from Ferris Grump. What a great name. I saw the HF has a replaceable battery. Do you know how much like a second battery would cost that you can take two of them with you? May not be something that's been released yet.
Okay. If first of all, hi Ferris. You also have been supporting my channel for so many years, and I just want to say thank you for that. Awesome. I think that would be covered under the warranties. I think you would send it in. I don't think you would get a second battery like that. I know you might be thinking like charging wise.
What about buying like an additional battery to take with you? If you said 10 hours, so say we're running 120 kilohertz for 6 hours or 8 hours, and we want to spend another 2 hours out there. You want a second battery. It may not again be something that's come out yet, but
yeah,
it's a good idea.
It is a good idea. Yeah, if it's hardcore detectorists, we go around the clock with it for sure.
Yeah, 12 hours.
Yeah. So
especially in England.
That's a good question. I'll do the humble thing and say I don't know. I'm sorry about that. I wish I did know the answer to that. That has not been said to me yet, but it sounds logical. XP goes by logic, so
sweet.
It'll be
look for that coming up then.
When we find this out.
Nice.
Here's a question by Doug Atkins. Can XP make it where the detector will remember more than one pair of headphones? I'm trying to get where he's coming from with that.
I think that would that's one of the things that would blow up the universe too. Like that would rip the fabric of like space and time. I've tried turning it on a few times at around others, and it's worked really well because it's designed to have one in there, and then you have to like take it out. You have to like unpair it, like if you want to change it. But I think, like for instance, like in group hunts, there are so many other. I mean, it gets lost. Like you pair with like the wrong person. I think it's the fail-safe that prevents your friend from linking up with your detector.
Now, did you hear what Tony just said about me?
Oh,
Tony, I heard that.
What annoying would that be? You're over there swinging, and you hear your buddy
beep, beep, beep.
on theirs. They've got a good signal. You start digging. There's nothing there. It's gonna drive you crazy.
The design to this, like it like there has to be so much thought that goes into this. I was thinking with the multi-frequency and the, being that the frequencies are so high and small objects and like differentiating them. I know this was like the news was broken like late last year, and it's taken a while. It's a challenge, like it's something that has to be combed through to get all of the bugs and, to make it work at a level that people are happy. And you hear about the the different versions and the debate of like updating and stuff like that. Getting progress each time. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Here's a question that makes some sense. I'm wondering how you experience it. This is a good question. Does it feel lighter than the 9-inch coil or other standard coils, since the battery is up in the shaft and it's not in the coil? You know what I mean? Like it's got
really nice balance. It's got a sweet spot, for balance. I wouldn't call it lighter. They're both so light. I mean, we're talking about comparing 1.6 pounds with like 1.7 pounds. You really don't feel the difference. I mean, all of the coils are made to swing all day.
Yeah. XP excels at that
Yeah.
in terms of weight. Absolutely.
Like I think that, like, more so than anything else is the paramount thing, you know, the most important thing that you know, Alan looks for. I remember him, you know, talking to me about that when I went to France, because if you're comfortable, you swing longer. And I've seen like there's like a meme on the metal detecting internet of a guy who's at the beach who is like he's bringing his coil up. You know, we all goof on each other for that, but when you get tired, that's inevitable. Like that's the first thing that leaves, and that's where ergonomics comes in. If you're comfortable, you're going to be able to swing longer. If you swing longer, you find more. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So ergonomics is huge. We think about depth, we think about separation. Maybe we should put ergonomics like at a higher value, and you know, that's where XP comes in. You could fit it in a backpack. It's like that super athlete you could fit in a backpack. You know, it's and it, you know, most configurations, you know, at or below 2 pounds. And we all could handle 2 pounds.
All right. Gary Hull said, you have a saying, we just unlocked Jello. Will you have a new sayings when they come out with the new coil?
Ooh.
You know, I just added my first new unlock in years, and it was in my last video. And basically, I found something gold plated, and you know, gold unlocks sushi. The universe told me that. I don't know what rule, you know, made that happen, but since it was gold plated, we just made an unlock for gas station sushi. The lowest form of sushi.
It's not quite. It's there, but it's not quite there.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the point, because it's like plated gold. It's there, but it's not quite there.
Right
so
there.
We celebrate with well, we don't really celebrate with gas station sushi. We don't want food poisoning, but it's the same theme with the you know, with the plated gold.
I always thought it'd be interesting to create a YouTube channel, and all you do is you go around and you sample gas station food, and you rank it and rate it and try it, no matter how disgusting it looks. You know what I mean? And
By
you're just doing like a review channel
on that channel. You're gonna need to go to the doctor.
That'll be the plea to the viewers. You're like, please, you got to support my health insurance. I need to help protect myself. Well, Merrill, man, you have been an amazing guest so much. I knew you would be.
Guys.
You came and answered as many questions as you could. We definitely appreciate your time. We can't wait for this coil to come out. I know so many people are excited for it. Hey, if you're watching and you can think of questions that maybe Merrill didn't get to or we didn't get to, make sure you either send us an email, get a hold of us somehow, dk@adventuresindirt.com, or you can post a comment below, and we'll be happy to get them over to Merrill and see if we can get you an answer for it. But wow, Merrill, good stuff, man. It's exciting times when new kit comes out, isn't it?
Yeah. Always love coming on this show. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yep. Well, we're wishing you luck in the coming time. I know that you're going to be requested more and more and more, and you know, you're always going to get a lot of the same questions and stuff. So good luck with your patience coming up with some of that stuff. You know, other manufacturers that have come on, same thing. It's like they get the same questions all over, you know. Can you think of any questions we didn't cover here tonight that maybe the people should know?
I mean, I guess, I mean, I kind of said it before, like ever evolving is like the word to remember, or the phrase to remember with the Deus too. You never know what you're going to get, you know, later on in the future, you know, as evidenced by the GPS Go Terrain, you know, program that was just put on a 15-year-old metal detector, high frequency coil. I mean, think about when the Deus 2 came out and how different of a machine it is now, you know, with the Extreme Hunter, with the high frequency coil. XP cares to knock it out of the park. You know, it wants to be great And I don't know. I'm immensely proud of that, and wants to be groundbreaking and really, disrupt what's what the norms are. So
Yeah.
It's when something like this comes out, it's something to be excited about, and it's never going to be redundant. It's going to be something that is different. It's going to give you a different look. And I think the thing to know about this coil, it's that analogy with the relief pitcher.
Yes.
There are settings where it will shine. It's not going to be your first option. You got great options with the 9-inch, 11-inch, 13-inch coils, but this is something that will give you a different look that will be very valuable, especially in, certain settings that will, really make it shine.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, man. We appreciate your time. Last words from you, then we'll put you in the green room, and Tony and I'll close the show out, and then we'll say our goodbyes off air. You okay with that? Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Give you the floor.
Thanks for watching.
There you go. And we're gone.
I kind of did like the wrap up before, and
right. You did.
You start thinking to yourself when you're a teacher, it's like people just start like giving you like the blank look. It's like, all right, you gotta wrap it up now. So
yeah, that's it. Okay, well, we'll see you in a minute. We'll put you in the green room.
Sounds good.
Thanks again, buddy. We appreciate it. I've done that with presentations before. You get to like an hour in, and they're just like,
yeah. Like, I need to wrap this up, and then they say, okay, final words. I'm like, I already gave them. Sorry.
Right. You missed that about 45 minutes ago. Oh my gosh.
Oh, what a great guest. Merrill's always awesome.
He's always great.
Gosh, I've been following his YouTube channel for years upon years. The information, there's a pure library of information that he has. Absolutely incredible guy, incredible ambassador. XP is lucky to have nabbed that guy. I tell you what.
Yeah, the VDI Bibles used to put out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're a user of a Deus 2 or a Deus 1, even for that matter, you need to go over his channel, Metal Detecting NYC. He's put out tons of instructional videos. Some of them get really deep and are very long videos because he really gets into it. Others are kind of short, quick biters that kind of just give you some advice that maybe can turn your detecting game around. So I encourage you to go over there and check out his YouTube channel, and then be looking out for him on the XP Metal Detecting channel also, and on their website for any kind of new updates that are coming out. So thanks again to Merrill. That's awesome.
Yep. Great.
What do you got going on?
You can find me over really anywhere on social media, 5280 Adventures, over on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Just search me out for there. Watch what I've got. A lot of funny memes and shorts, things like that. Just trying to keep it light and humorous. I appreciate it. And if you guys ever find the grandma's brooch that you're looking for, make sure you guys message me, let me know, because I'm always out there looking for it. So
welcome to the podcast of Inside Jokes with your host, Grandma's Ken and Tony. All right, man. I'm Ken with Adventures in Dirt. You can find me anywhere. Just Google Adventures in Dirt and you'll find me out there. But hey, if you're going to get out this weekend, I wish you all a ton of luck, man. Go find that good stuff. And when you find it, make sure you tell us about it. We love hearing what you're finding out there. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for listening to Relics Radio. We will see you back here next week for another exciting guest. Until then, get out and dig it all.